And I realized in that moment that these people will never support me, you know? Like, okay, this was just money and it was just $1,000, which is still a lot, but if it were anything else, they won't support me, you know? And this reminds me also, we were having dinner, Teresa, me, and some other people, okay? And Teresa starts talking about this one queen she had in the past. And this dinner, there's like 3 or 4 other people there. And she starts talking about the queen's personal life, and she's like, yeah, she lied about being sexually harassed. I don't trust her, she's a liar. And I was like, excuse me, but like, how do you know that she lied, you know?
Magandang araw po sa inyo at welcome back dito sa ating panibagong video. Mga kapolitika, ang inyo pong napanood ay ang kabahagi ng pahayag ni Miss India dito sa mga accusations at allegations sa kanya, at ano nga ba talaga ang tunay na nangyari dito sa kanyang pag-resign, kasi ang sa side niya, sabi niya siya ay nag-resign, and then sa side naman ng Miss Grand International ay siya ay na-dethrone. So ano pa man ang tunay na nangyari dito mga kapolitika, ito yung ating pag-uusapan at bibigyan natin ng reaksyon dahil nakakaawa rin po pala ang kalagayan at naging karanasan ni Miss India dito sa Miss Grand International according to her story. Pero bago ang lahat ay huwag kalimutang mag-like at mag-subscribe na rin kayo para updated kayo sa ating mga latest issue. So siguro dito sa mundo ng social media ay marami na po ang nakapanood ng naging pahayag ni Miss India dito sa nangyari, kung bakit or ano nga ba talaga ang tunay na dahilan kung bakit siya ay nag-resign ayon sa kanyang pahayag. So marami siyang sinabi dito sa kanyang naging statement, kasi meron siyang YouTube channel mga kapolitika, at dito niya inilabas yung kanyang saloobin at yung tunay na nararamdaman at yung kanyang mga karanasan. So ang sabi nga ng ilan, dahil na-expose na ngayon ang Miss Grand dito sa ganitong iskandalo, ay baka naman meron silang mga baguhin sa kailang panuntunan. So sabi niya ay meron siyang issue dito sa pag-live selling, kasi bakit daw siya pinapabenta nitong mga cheap products or itong mga nilalako nila dito sa kailang TikTok. So ito din dapat yung tuunan ng pansin ng Miss Grand International, kasi kahit sino naman, pag ikaw ay nanalo sa isang prestigious na beauty pageant and then dito ka lang magbibenta-benta, maybe siguro is maganda pag meron silang official store, okay, and then maging ambassador nila or yung endorser nila itong si Racehl Gupta, instead na dito sila magla-live selling. And then parang kasi ito wala naman tayo, hindi naman tayo against dito sa mga pa-live selling nila mga kapolitika, pero parang common na kasi at parang mababa yung standard pag ganito yung ginagawa sa mga kandidata. Okay, so yun po, maybe pwede siyang gawing endorser or maging mukha ng produkto nila, pero to the point na pagtitinda-tindahin mo yung mga candidate dito, parang hindi po siya magandang tingnan. Okay, so narinig naman din natin yung side ni Mr. Nawat, so ang sabi nga natin ay hintayin natin naman yung side ni Miss India. So according po dito sa statement ni Miss India ay sabi niya meron din siyang reklamo doon sa kanyang tinitirhan, and then to the point na may moment daw na humihingi pa siya ng panggastos dito sa kanyang parents dahil para sa kanyang pagkain, pero wala naman siyang ipinakitang pruweba. Pero kung totoo man ito mga kapolitika ay talagang napaka hindi magandang imahe dito sa Miss Grand International Organization, kasi what about doon sa mga susunod na winners nila, and then ganito yung treatment. Again, hindi po natin sinasabi na ito ay totoo, base lang po ito sa kwento ni Miss Racehl Gupta. So dapat napabulaanan at magbigay rin po dito ng counter na statement itong Miss Grand International para hindi masira ang kailang reputations. So aside from this ay sinabi rin po ni Racehl na meron din po siyang issue sa security, dahil one time is nawalan daw siya ng amount dito sa kanyang pouch, which she believes na someone inside yung nakialam, dahil naiba na daw yung ayos nung kanyang mga gamit. So basically ay meron siyang issue sa mga security na hindi pala siya safe dito sa loob ng Miss Grand Organization Company. So ito so far yung mga isiniwalat niya. Marami po siyang sinabi, pero narito po at ating pakikinggan at panonoorin po yung kanyang official na statement dito sa kanyang social media account sa YouTube. So kung kayo ang tatanungin mga kapolitika ay ano ang inyong magreaksyon dito sa mga sinabi ni Miss India na meron siyang issue sa kanyang security, meron siyang issue dito sa pag-live selling, at the same time dito rin sa kanyang pagbayad or yung amount ng kanilang talent fee dito sa Miss Grand International. Mag-comment down below at huwag kalimutang mag-like at mag-subscribe na rin kayo para updated kayo sa ating mga latest issue.
And she's like, I know it, she's a liar, she lied, nothing happened. And I was like, don't you think you should believe your queen? Like, if she told you that she was on a work trip with MGI, I don't know the whole story or who the queen was, but apparently she was on a trip to South Sudan with MGI, and she got sexually harassed by the general manager of the hotel. And she told Teresa, and Teresa says, I asked the general manager, he said nothing happened, I just dropped her in her room. And I realized in that moment that that poor girl was probably sexually harassed, and she told the only people who she had at that time with her, who was Teresa. And they didn't believe her. Like, okay, first of all, how do you prove that something like that happened? It's very difficult, that's very complicated. But if you tell your organization, like, they need to believe you, you know? Like, you call yourself mommy for a reason. You need to at least believe your queen and not shit talk her years later at a table with random people, you know? And I realized I would be the next girl. Like, if anything ever happens to me on one of these trips, God forbid, anything. This money is one example. But anything worse, you know, I cannot rely on them for anything, because frankly, they don't care if I live or die. As long as I'm there to smile at their events, as long as I like keep my body like super skinny the way they like, they don't care if I live or die. They just want me to be there to go on TikTok live and make money for them and show up at their events. That's it. That's all they want from me. And I realized they would never support me, and I was completely on my own. I mean, genuinely, when I say that they only care about money, I mean it. They made us sell, you guys know, they made us sell these cheap, tacky products on TikTok, all right? Like we were sales girls. I mean, you've crowned queens. Girls who, like, we have careers in our country, we do things, we're well respected, you know? And they're making us sell cheap products on TikTok because it makes them money. And you can't say no because the boss has asked you to do it. But I used to feel so guilty, you know, like people are spending their hard-earned money to buy these like disgusting cheap products, and like nobody has the power to say no. Like if they say, hey, we need you here for TikTok live, you just show up and you do the TikTok live. That's it, you know? And I felt really, really guilty for misleading the fans, because they'll, like, the fans will buy just to support the queen who says buy it, you know? That's what's so special and amazing. But like it baffles me. Like, you have women, you know, like me, for example, a person who's a speaker, who wants to like talk about issues, who wants to create change in the world, who has so many ideas, not just for business but for philanthropic work, and you want her to sell like chili paste and chili sauce and like random things on TikTok? Seriously? I had so many ideas to work with underprivileged children, which I was already doing in my country, and also in Thailand I've worked with an NGO which I really love, and I wanted to raise awareness because now I have the followers, and that's what I always wanted. You guys know, in my interviews I said the reason I want to win is to bring attention to these matters, is to use my advocacy, you know, Otherwise, what's the point? Like, I'm not doing this for the money because I never got the money. I'm not doing this for the fame, all right, because you have to be popular before you win MGI in order to win. Like, the only reason I'm doing this is so that I can use my voice in a way that matters, you know? Not selling on TikTok, but actually working with charities. Like, they use this whole stop the war and violence thing, but it's all fake. It's a facade. Where is the stop the war and violence? Like where is the work? Where's the advocacy work for that? Like, I'm here, I'm ready to use my voice, I'm ready to work with an NGO, but they don't want to do that because it doesn't make money for them. And I've heard them say, like, Nawat literally says that this is useless, people don't care about it, it's not entertaining, and it doesn't make money, so we're not going to do it. Like, I'm sorry, but it's not all about entertainment. Being a queen, that's not what pageantry is about, you know? It's about being a global public figure who uses her voice for good, you know? Not these cheap entertainment tactics. I had plans when I was there. I wanted to go to charities. I wanted to visit a blind orphanage, and also, you know, other like slum areas that I had worked in before, and they didn't let me. And they said that it's because, like, we don't have production team, you know, blah blah blah. They made up reasons. Obviously they didn't want to because it's not paid. And I said, I don't need production team, like, my day is free, I'll just go there and, you know, I'll be able to like bring some attention to the cause. And they said no, like, you can't. And so I feel really bad when people ask me that, like, why did you stop your advocacy? Because, like, I wasn't allowed to. And what is the point of winning, of having followers, of people listening to you? What's the point of wearing India over here and if you can't actually help in any way, you know? It's completely useless. And I remember after winning, they called us down to the MGI headquarters, okay? And they gave us all our contracts 1 or 2 days after winning, I'm not sure when. And I don't know if I can explain that situation properly, but when they gave the contract, it was like a gun to the head. Okay, it was their pen, their paper, their office, their contract, their rules. And we were expected to just sit down, shut up, and sign it. That's it. I remember I personally stepped aside out of the meeting with all the girls to have a conversation about the contract, because mine was different and I had a couple questions. I wanted to see if there's, you know, anything I can like negotiate, because the contract is obviously very one-sided. Like, it's only there to protect them or benefit them. It doesn't guarantee me or promise me anything. It doesn't protect me or protect my rights in any way. But it's like the whole world is like, India had just won for the first time, and I was seeing people's reactions, and everybody was so proud, and there was so much support, and everybody was so excited. There's no question of, hey, I can't sign the contract, you know, you have to. The whole world is watching you, you just won. You have to sign it, there's that pressure. And the way they approach the situation is like, you sign it, if you don't want to sign it, no problem, you can leave. That's the attitude going into it. I asked, I'm like, you know, can we negotiate this at all? Can I request that we discuss this? You know, my lawyer would want to maybe read it and negotiate. And Teresa was like, no. She's like, if you have a problem, if you don't want to sign it, don't sign it. Tell me right now. You can leave. And so I realized, like, there's no negotiating this. You just sign it. That's it. They just want girls to feel lucky that, you know, you've been chosen by us, and you just sign it. That's it. And of course, the prize money was promised to me to be paid, like the monthly stipend, and then the total amount at the end of my reign. But I just received the first stipend for the first month, and that's it. Like, I never saw another penny after that, and so I had to handle, or my parents had to handle, all the expenses that came with it. And so every time I travel, like, I have to take care of my own food. Of course, they do the flights and hotel, but if something is not done, like, it's your responsibility to take care of it 100%, you know. And they don't provide you with outfits or anything. Like, some of the if you get invited to a country, I've only been to one, by the way, so I don't know how this works exactly, but the country that calls you, the ND, will provide you dresses for events while you're there, but everything else is your own responsibility. And it's so difficult because when you go into it, you think, hey, like, I've just become Miss Grand International, they're gonna take care of my wardrobe, they're gonna take care of hair and makeup, they're gonna take care of everything for me. But that's not true. You're still completely on your own for everything. And of course, my reign was particularly difficult for me because of the issues with my national director and the international organization. So when I competed at Miss Grand India, I competed under Glamanand, who was the Indian National Director organization. And I signed a contract with them, as every girl does in every country. And I would be represented by them in India. And then after I won, they had a personal issue with Miss Grand International. They had a falling out, like so many national directors did. And they lost their license for India. So although I was signed to them in India, Miss Grand would not allow me to work with them at all. So I couldn't work at all, basically. And I remember I had been queen for less than 2 months the first time they threatened to dethrone me. And they just use this thing of dethronement, of taking the crown away, as blackmail. And they use it to manipulate me for everything. So, like, you can't bring up a single issue with them because they will just, like, say that we'll take your crown away. And it was so impossibly difficult for me. Like, after Glamanand lost their license, there was a new license holder in India, alright, some star or something. And they were supposed to do my whole homecoming. You know, we had multiple conversations in December leading up to my homecoming where I was planning it with them. I had big plans. They had big plans. They promised so many things. We were all so excited, you know. But the date of my homecoming kept coming closer and closer. And nothing was materializing, you know. And up until the moment I landed in the airport in Delhi for the homecoming, these people, the new organization, hadn't even taken permission from the airport authorities to host my homecoming there. Like, can you imagine? My plane has landed, I'm coming out, there's no permission. I'm blessed that my dad, he was there, he handled everything. He called his own contacts, you know, the marshals in the airport, or I don't know what, but he got at the last minute the permission for us to have the homecoming there. Otherwise they wouldn't have let anybody stop in the airport. They wouldn't have let the crowds in, they wouldn't have let the band or the pundits who were doing the prayer, the roses, the flowers, everything, the red carpet. None of that would have been allowed. And he did it last minute, all on his own, with no support. Same for my Jalandhar homecoming. My dad had planned this amazing, like, a parade with like circus performances and like media, news, everything. Like, he arranged it himself. Neither did Miss Grand International do it, nor did the new national organization do it, you know. They just came, they took their photographs, they posted everything first with their watermark on it of my event, my homecoming. They took credit for everything and then they left. In fact, they left in the middle of my press conference here because they had their content, they didn't need anything. They literally left in the middle. So, and now they're using my photograph everywhere to promote their event, and they didn't do anything for me, you know? Like, I was left completely alone. I couldn't work with the people I had a legal contract with Glamanand. and because MGI and the new people wouldn't allow it, and I couldn't work without Laminate either because that's who I have a contract with. So I'm literally stuck over here. And when I'm in India, like, there's nothing I can do because of these issues and just constant threatening messages from MGI saying we'll take your crown away. I had to let go of so many opportunities, big interviews by like I don't even know if I can say. I had to let go of a lot of really, really big opportunities simply because I wasn't allowed to take them. I couldn't because I was stuck. And so all the comments that are like calling me jobless and like saying, you know, why is she not doing anything? Why is she not posting? Why is she not updating? Why are there no appearances? Literally because I wasn't allowed to. And can you imagine how difficult and stressful it was for me? Because when you win, you expect your life to change overnight. That's what I expected. You expect that everything is going to be perfect and you're going to get all these opportunities and offers and it's all going to work out. But that's not the case. That is not the case at all. And I had to struggle and fight, and I had to sit home and do nothing because I had to say no to everything that was offered to me in India. So whatever duties were given to me by MGI, I did all of them. I was at every event. I did everything. I did not work outside of them at all. All right. At most, I would do 1 or 2 unpaid things because like I'm not getting paid, so I'm allowed to do it, you know. But other than that, I would just do nothing. And this was like the hardest thing of all, hard to explain to all of you. Like it feels like such a weight off my shoulders now to be able to tell you this, honestly. I was so excited to travel. Also, you know, their favorite sentence to use is more than 20 countries. You're gonna travel to more than 20 countries. What traveling? Like, I'm sorry, but it's May. It's May. I've been queen for 7 months, all right, and I have traveled to 1 country with MGI, just 1. That's the Czech Republic. That's it. I mean, these like girls go into this. I went into this thinking, hey, I'm gonna get the opportunity to travel around the world, to be an ambassador, to do this, that. That's what they used to advertise themselves, right? But look at it. It's May. It's been 7 months. I have a few months left of my reign and there's no traveling. And yeah, they've said that there's maybe some countries coming up, but how am I supposed to do it when I know that A, I'm not protected, and B, like, I don't know that anything is final, and C, I have to pay so much like on my own when I'm there, you know? And it's such an unsupportive environment. And I feel really bad because I was supposed to be in Guatemala right now. You know, the national directors of Guatemala had invited me there, and I feel bad that I wasn't able to go. But I had been talking to Miss Grand International. I had been talking to them before, and I told them that, you know, I'm facing all these issues, and please resolve these issues for me, otherwise I won't be able to go to Guatemala. Like, I said that, I was very clear on that, you know. And all I got in response was aggressive threats. That's it. They said, we're gonna go to the police, we're gonna do this, that, we're filing a case against you. And all I wanted was for them to say, you know what, Rachel, I'm sorry you're having a difficult time. We're gonna look into it and we're gonna make sure you don't have any problems. That's it. Like, I've done everything that was asked of me. All I needed is a little bit of support, a little bit of knowing that I'm not in this alone and that the organization is with me. But they're not. They only care about making their money. I know that Nawat publicly blamed my passport, you know, for me not traveling a couple months ago. He said that Rachel's not traveling because she has issues with her passport and she's applying for lots of visas, you know. Like, that's not true. Okay, I understand an Indian passport might not be the strongest in the world, so it's easy to blame, but me personally, I have 10-year visas for the US, UK, Canada, alright, which basically grants me access almost everywhere in the world. And I applied for my Schengen visa the day they told me to. I applied and I got my Schengen visa for 3 months within like 6 days. So that's not the reason I wasn't traveling for so many months, is because I'm struggling with my passport. It's because there were no travel opportunities for me. And another reason I hear a lot is people think that Rachel can't travel on her own. I would be more than happy to travel on my own if they present the opportunity to me, but they didn't. And I've been here, I've been ready to work, ready to be queen, ready to actually have the reign that was promised to me. But like, I'm not being offered those opportunities. Like, I've only been to one country. That is so shameful and embarrassing. And even that trip, like, I will never forget my trip to the Czech Republic, because the Czech team is so nice and sweet and amazing, and they put on an incredible event over there. And I remember the day after the event, Teresa, me and the national director, we were together, and she starts yelling at the national director, telling her that she had a bad show and that she picked the wrong winner and just XYZ, like lots of issues. She went on for an hour yelling at this woman who is a grown woman running her company, living her life, doing her best, who got so many sponsors, who did such an amazing job. And she yelled at her until she cried. And I realized in that moment, like, if Teresa can yell at this woman like this, like, what am I for her? I'm nothing. What are any of her queens to her? They're nothing. You know, they call themselves Mommy Teresa and Papa Nawat, but you can't just call yourself mom and dad. Like, you have to act like it. You have to protect your daughters. You have to be there for them. I'm sorry, but they couldn't be the furthest thing from parents. They are cold-hearted business people. They just want to extract your use, make money off of you, and that is it. That's all they care about. And the other thing they care about is how you look. That's it. I remember after winning, the first time I sat at an event with them for Miss Grand something, whatever, I don't remember which one it was. But the girls were performing on stage, and I was so excited that I'm finally sitting on the other side of the stage, you know? I'm not on the stage, I'm on the other side, and it's such a proud moment for me. And I was sitting with them, and I heard the way they speak about these girls. Girls who they're giving their heart and their soul performing on stage the way all of us do. And I was there to hear the conversations about how they judge them and how they speak about them. The kind of derogatory, body-shaming, disgusting, deplorable comments they make. Like, I can't even say that on camera. I would never speak about another person that way. Saying like, oh, she's all right, but her knees are too fat, you know? She'll never win because of her knees. Like, every aspect of the body is pointed out for every girl, all right? Like, she's to this, she's to that, this is to this to that. And I don't know about you, but like, I can't sit through that. I was so excited to be there and be on that side of the table, but just to hear these conversations, it really disturbed me mentally. It made me feel sick. Like 15 minutes into the event, I was sick. I was ready to throw up. I just wanted to leave. I wanted to like cover my ears or something, because I could imagine that that's how they spoke about me and the girls I competed with as well, you know? And I don't even want to imagine what kind of comments they were, you know? This claims to be an organization to support women, to champion women. It should be more than that. No, it should be more than what a girl's knees or nose or like, I can't. Like, they pretend to be so body positive and forward thinking, and yeah, sure, they admit that you need a good body to win, but there's all kinds of bodies competing, right? And they say that that's not like, that shouldn't be a factor, but the truth is, like, you are letting yourself, if you're competing there, you're letting yourself be judged top to bottom in the most disgusting way possible by these people. And I frankly cannot be a part of that. I'm not a woman who will tear down another woman because one part of her body is not completely perfect. They don't care about how you speak. They don't care about what you think. The only thing they care about is what you look like. That's why they used to send people to pinch different parts of me and tell me to lose weight here. And I had so many ideas for them, you know. I wanted to work. I had the arm popper idea. You guys know I made an ad I made a product, I did the packaging. In fact, Nawat requested me to create samples of it. My parents had the samples made in India. We were working with local creators and cottage industries here, because it's made by, the snack is made by, like, you know, by people who support themselves off of this. It's a very small industry, and I wanted to help them grow their business and take it worldwide. You know, it would have been such a support to the economy. But they weren't interested in that, you know. And people ask me, where's your Papa? I don't know.